Hello everybody. Once again, we regret that the current crisis means that we can't physically meet you for this GR Yaris dynamic press launch. But we hope that this recorded presentation will give you a better understanding of what makes this new car so special. As you may know, our President Akio Toyoda has been deeply involved in its development. So first of all, let's take a moment to hear from him.
ラリーはお客様が日常を使う道を舞台に日常を使う市販車をベースとした車で争われます。ラリーは人と車を鍛え上げるためには最適な舞台だと実感いたしました。もっといい車を作るため私どもは WRC の道に再び戻らさせていただきたいと思います。道が人を鍛える、人が車を作る。
Toyota needs to get sports car back. I have always thought so. 86 is my precious partner during rallies and races. Supra made a successful comeback. But still, I have always wanted a sports car purely made by Toyota.
市販車をいかにスポーツ走行、モータースポーツのプロの世界に持っていくかというそっちの流れを逆に勝つために作った車を市販車に使っていただく、その流れを大きく変えた、最初の車が僕 GR ヤリスだと思ってます。アクセルブレーキでなんとなくごまかしができる。これで完璧に証明しろと言わない。だけどトヨタはそっちをね、全部の車じゃないけどそっちも向き始めたなというふうにね、思うミッションがこの車だ。ちょっとフロント入らないね。そこでアンダーがかかっちゃう。僕はねこの車の開発にあたってどうしてプロを使うかというのは、この車はもともとね勝つために作る車なんですね。そこを出発点にして一般の公道でも走れるような過酷なテストはもうやり続けられたんですね。だから20年30年使いますから、その分痛めて具合を先に出す。そして一個ずつ直していく。いろいろ乗ってきましたけれども、なんか最近やっと会話が成り立つっていうかね。トヨタさんにはできないでしょ、この一言。ところがトヨタでもできるんだ、トヨタでもこういう車ができるんだということを証明する車ができた。
I'm pretty sure that you're aware that Toyota Gazoo Racing is competing at the highest levels in motorsport. In the World Endurance Championship, we just took our third consecutive win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans earlier this year. In World Rally, we won the Manufacturers' Championship in 2018 and the Drivers' Championship in 2019. So far this year, we are currently leading the Drivers' Championship. Toyota's car-making philosophy, including the important involvement in motorsports, has been passed on to us since the company's foundation. The extreme conditions of motorsport bring out a vehicle's full potential, something that is just not possible in day-to-day driving. Motorsport allows us to test the ultimate limits of a vehicle and to push those limits even further so that we can make ever better cars. We believe that competing under the extreme conditions of motorsports provides many growth opportunities, not just for those cars, but also for our people. This is especially true in the area of rallying. So why do we compete in the World Rally Championship? World Rally is packed with all of the extremes that are needed for developing people and cars, making it the ideal platform to build ever better cars. That is why our President Akio Toyoda has been competing in rallies to get first-hand experience. And as you will see in the technical presentation that follows, the GR Yaris has been designed by people involved in rallying. That's why its concept is based on the World Rally Championship experience and the needs of the race. So let's look at how racing and product marketing are closely linked. I think that most of you are already familiar with our Toyota Gazoo racing strategy, so we'll only recap the essentials. Our strategy is all about implementing the new TGR ecosystem. We do this through our three-layer pyramid approach. We are driving the Toyota Gazoo Racing brand image top-down by competing in top-level motorsports and by utilizing the subsequent people development to develop ever better cars. This leads to pure GR models and GR Sport dynamic grades on core models. Applied to the Yaris, it gives us this pyramid with the Yaris WRC at the top, the GR Yaris as the GR product, and the future Yaris GR Sport as a forthcoming dynamic grade. During this presentation, you will hear about the chief engineer concept, followed by experts in the engine and chassis development areas. So let me first introduce Saito-san, our chief engineer. He will explain his concept of the GR Yaris and some of the key development areas.
Hi, I'm Saito. First, let me introduce Mr. Toyoka, who is the chief test driver of GR Yaris. He is joining with me today.
Thank you, Saito-san. So today, let me ask you some questions about GR Yaris. How this project started?
First of all, our President Akio Toyoda is a real car guy, and he always interested in making exciting car for the future. It was all started out when President Akio Toyoda met Tomi Makinen in 2014. Then he decided to go back in WRC. His strong will to make a sports car purely made by Toyota, designed from racing car.
In the video, we saw reverse engineering. What does it mean?
Yes, the way we develop a car from racing is totally different development process. This is very strong request from our president. This is the first time ever in Toyota. Designed with the needs of WRC in mind and set WRC car as a target. Toyoka-san, can you give us some example?
Okay. Normally, I don't do any test with WRC driver in low mu in high speed. Our president as a master driver and the WRC driver joined from very early stage. I learned a lot from them. For example, I was surprised that they use parking brake for turning corner in high speed.
Thanks to those inputs in early stage, we could make the car better and better.
Saito-san, for example, can you show me the parts you have improved after their inputs?
Yes, I'd say coupling system. This system grab and release the clutch in order to control torque distribution front and rear. We increased number of clutch discs to improve response. This can only be done because this feedback was in such early stage. As a master driver, our President Akio Toyoda has tested this car so many times in gravel condition. As a result, we had a hole in undercover and we realized that we need special cover like this red one.
How about changes you made because of inputs from WRC team?
Look at this cover in engine hood. We made this to adapt longer suspension stroke for WRC car.
Now, question for Toyoka-san. What is the most difficult point as a request from racing drivers?
I'd say dynamic performance of GR4. As for 4WD, it has a strong yaw damping. It's advantage to go straight. On the other hand, it may need effort in cornering. Thanks to good feedbacks by racing driver and our president, we have achieved the best balance between stability and handling.
Hello everyone, I am Jean-Jacques from Product Communications. Before inviting our powertrain and chassis experts, let's have a look at the packaging of the GR Yaris, designed to meet the specific needs of racing in rallies. Even though the GR Yaris is still called Yaris, it's a quite different car, as you can see here. In fact, the only parts shared by both cars are the front and rear lights and wing mirrors. All the rest is specific to the GR. The GR Yaris has been designed to meet the specific needs of a WRC car, especially in terms of aerodynamics. As you can see, the roof line has been lowered by almost 10 centimeters, 95 millimeters to be precise, in order to increase the efficiency of the rear spoiler. In addition, the air from the wheel housing is directed along the body to enhance the aerodynamic performance, like on the race cars. At the front, we see the large grille, the signature of the Gazoo racing models that already exist in Japan. This matches the radiator shape, offering perfect performance in terms of cooling and air intake. On the sides, the large bezels accommodate the additional brake duct and intercooler. And of course, the spoiler shape and the corner lip perfectly control the airflow. Needless to say, lightweight material is a priority on a sports car, and for the GR Yaris, we didn't do things by half. We chose carbon sheet molding compound for the roof with a gain of 3.5 kg compared to a steel roof. This lowers the center of gravity 8 by 2.5 millimeters. Aluminium is used for the hood, the back and front doors. And it is important to note that for these parts, in the current WRC regulation, you have to keep the same material that is used on the production car. Compared to a 5-door Yaris, this represents a reduction of 24 kg. Also, thin sheets have been adopted for the fenders and side members. Now, let me introduce Timothy Daird, one of our most famous engine engineers in Toyota Motor Europe R&D.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim, in charge of powertrain at Toyota Motor Europe R&D. I will explain some of the most impressive aspects of this fantastic new engine. This 3-cylinder is the smallest and lightest 1.6 turbo, yet it performs like a 2-liter turbo. Power is 261 din horsepower and torque reaches 360 Nm as of 3000 RPM. This gives the GR Yaris an impressive power-to-weight ratio of 4.9 kg per horsepower, allowing the car to accelerate 0 to 100 km per hour in just 5.5 seconds. And the maximum speed is 230 km per hour. In addition, please note that this engine has been designed to comply with WRC2 technical regulations. Yes, very impressive slide. This is just to show how much there is to say about this engine. I will not go into detail because it would take too long. I just would like to emphasize a few things. First of all, we need to remember that this 3-cylinder is, for the first time in Toyota, introducing technologies that are directly imported from motorsports. For example, the ball bearings of the turbo and the eccentric valve seats. The overall weight construction is also remarkable. Now, let me draw your attention to some interesting technologies. Let's start with the cylinder head. Like all our new TNGA engines, the combustion efficiency has been maximized by using high tumble flow in the combustion chamber, as illustrated on the right-hand side of the slide. The cylinder head itself is designed with a 2-level jacket structure that improves the cooling, especially around the combustion chamber. By controlling the temperature, we can increase the pressure while avoiding any risk of knocking. The design of the cylinder head has been optimized to reduce the weight. This lightweight design philosophy has also been applied to the cylinder block. Regarding the piston design, I would like to highlight that the spherical combustion chamber has been developed in order to suppress turbulence and realize high-speed combustion. The risk of knocking is again largely reduced. The casting conditions and casting process parameters have been optimized to make the walls of various parts thinner, in order to reach maximized weight reduction. The sliding surface of the piston skirt has been shot peened to produce a smooth skirt surface, greatly reducing the friction coefficient against the cylinder bore. The fine dimples left after shot peening also serve to ensure oil retention, enhancing the anti-scuff performance. A resin coat has been applied to the skirt surface, which contributes to the friction reduction between the piston and the cylinder bore wall. In the graph on the right-hand side, in blue, you can see the result in terms of effective pressure reduction. Like many of our engines, this 3-cylinder is equipped with both direct and indirect injection. As for the direct injection, the injection angle has been optimized and the fuel injection pressure has been increased to 20 MPa to obtain a finer spray atomization. A multi-hole spray has been adopted in order to reach lower emissions. As for the port injection, low fuel consumption and low emissions have been achieved by adopting long nozzle fine atomization injectors together with optimized intake ports in order to reduce the fuel adhesion on the walls. As you can see on the image, the turbo is integrated with the exhaust manifold, which contributes to the overall weight reduction. Like in motorsports, ball bearings have been adopted to reduce the friction, enhancing the acceleration performance. Abradable seal technology has been adopted for the compressor housing. This enhances the turbocharger efficiency for higher outputs and response. Of course, the compressed air passes through a large intercooler before entering the combustion chamber. This is just a glimpse of the technologies implemented on this fantastic engine. Let me introduce my colleague Vic for another very interesting chapter, the transmission and the chassis.
Thanks, Tim, and hello everyone. I'm Vic Herman, test driver in charge of Yaris at Toyota Motor Europe. I have been involved at several stages in the chassis development for this GR Yaris. So let's start with our very new in-house designed GR4 four-wheel drive system. This lightweight system allows an active torque split depending on the driving circumstances, but also on the driver's preferences. The secret of this system is this light, compact, electric magnetic clutch. This electronically controlled multi-plate clutch, it allows the torque to be distributed to the front and the rear between 0 and 100% and opposite. But this is theoretical. In fact, the torque distribution will always vary between 60-40 and 30-70, depending on the mode selected by the driver. Of course, we have opted for a full-time four-wheel drive system, and the differing gear ratios in the front transfer and the rear differential allows more torque to be transmitted towards the rear wheels compared to the front. So the four-wheel drive mode switch allows the driver to adapt the vehicle behavior according to his or her preferences. And here are the three different modes that the driver can select. Normal mode with the 60-40 front-rear torque distribution is the most balanced one, and it's following the weight distribution. The sports mode offers a 30-70 torque distribution, And this means the torque distribution is rear biased, just like in a rear-wheel driven car. This brings a more agile vehicle behavior in response to steering operation. And it's the most enjoyable mode for driving on tight and twisty roads. The track mode offers equal torque distribution between front and rear, and this is the most efficient setting for circuit use or loose surfaces such as snow or gravel. It allows the driver to attack the corner under braking while maintaining excellent stability and also accurate control over the vehicle rotation. Then a last word about the transmission system. The circuit pack, it's equipped with a torsion limited slip differential for both front and rear axles, which have a torque bias ratio of 2.3. Now let's talk about the chassis. The front suspension is actually a classic McPherson strut, but customized in order to suit the needs of a sports car. The lower arm is built in a single sheet press construction using high tensile steel that notably allowed the unsprung mass to be reduced. It has also been reinforced with patches in order to cope with the high loads delivered by the high performance tires. The stabilizer bar is placed in front of the steering gearbox in order to reduce the mass. And finally, we have used high rigidity steering knuckles and bearings. At the rear, we have a trailing double wishbone axle with, again, reinforced parts to cope with the higher loads induced by the four-wheel drive system and by the high-performance tires. Regarding the brakes now, we have a very robust system. At the front, we have ventilated discs of 356 millimeters, which is actually bigger than on the Supra, for example. And they are built in two pieces, which offer reduced unsprung mass and better heat dissipation. The calipers are the 4-pot aluminum monoblock type. At the rear, we also have large diameter ventilated discs with 2-pot aluminum monoblock calipers. The tire pressure warning system is, as you know, a feature that is legally mandatory on all cars. But here, the system informs the driver of the exact wheel-by-wheel tire pressures. So in case of track driving, this function allows to correct the tire pressure wheel by wheel depending on the course condition, and the driving style. Regarding the steering, note that for the GR Yaris, the steering column and decelerator sleeve are made in aluminum in order to reduce the mass, but also to reduce the inertia. And in this area, we have also worked a lot on the steering friction characteristics in order to give the driver accurate feedback even for very small steering angles. The power steering is electric, with of course specific settings for the electronic control unit. But of course, the tires, the suspension and the steering would not function optimally without a high level of body rigidity. And this has been achieved firstly by increasing the number of spot weld points. Compared to the Yaris hybrid, we have about 260 more. Secondly, we have extended the application of structural adhesives that reaches 35.4 meters, around 15 meters more than on the standard Yaris. This finishes my part of the presentation, and I will now hand over to Robert Tickner.
Thank you, Vic. Now, let's take a quick look at what makes the GR Yaris so good to drive on a daily basis. The driving position has been carefully set up with a wide range of adjustment possibilities. The height of the seat can be adjusted by up to 60 millimeters, and the steering wheel is adjusted by 40 millimeters in height and 50 millimeters in depth. Pedal placement has also been carefully designed, especially for facilitating sports driving techniques such as heel and toe. For this, the accelerator pedal has been enlarged by 5 millimeters, and the brake pedal has also been given particular attention. A sidewall prevents catching when you switch quickly from the accelerator pedal, and a newly designed bushing has been adopted to reduce play during operation. GR Yaris is equipped with the latest generation of Toyota Safety Sense. This includes the pre-collision system that also works at intersections for detecting both pedestrians and vehicles, and the emergency steering assist that supports the driver in sudden obstacle avoidance. Now a quick word about the different variants of GR Yaris, bearing in mind that the grade strategy can vary by market. So please do check with your local PR manager for your local market details. At the European level, the entry grade is nicely equipped and comes with 18-inch alloy wheels, dual exhaust, GR suspension, ultra suede GR sports seats, leather GR steering wheel, and a smart entry system. This grade can optionally be equipped with 2 packs. The convenience pack comes with Navi, a head-up display, JBL audio, and the specs that you see here on the chart behind me. The circuit pack comes with all the performance specs offered by GR Racing: forged wheels, specific suspension settings, and a Torsen limited slip differential on the front and on the rear. Now, before concluding our presentation, let's take a quick look at the new GR factory where the GR Yaris is going to be produced.
これを100万台単位でばらつきなく作るっていうのが誰でもできることじゃないです。
We have been working on GR Yaris development with professional drivers such as Mr. Ishiura, Mr. Oshima, and WRC drivers. In order to meet this high standard, we needed to make new production line, a production line for racing car quality.
In order to achieve the required quality, we have added special glue which is 11 meters longer than other models, and we added 200 welding points.
For GR Yaris, we tried to minimize the weight of the body panel located apart from the center of mass.
This engine can bring very high performance. We are making race car engines.
Pursuing racing car quality, we assemble body to chassis on the surface plate.
We use an equipment that we can measure alignment without stressing tire. Master skills worker adjusts the alignment. Both processes are unique to GR Yaris.
What we are aiming for is to build a car with such precision and balance. Customer can participate in the race as it is. It was a big challenge for us to change the way of thinking behind manufacturing. Please try it. I am sure you will be pleased.
Okay, so this brings our presentation to an end. I'd like to thank you all for your attention, and I wish you a lot of fun and smiles in the driving of our new GR Yaris. And of course, I hope to see you all very soon. In the meantime, take care and thank you.